Does this look familiar? Sitting in gridlock traffic, rushing from work to appointments, going to be late for dinner again. The road rage kicks in. This is the life we're used to. But what if life could look like this? An oasis of green parks, endless sidewalks, and empty roads. Impossible? Well, it's actually the concept behind the 15-minute city.
Protests are popping up around the world against something called 15-minute cities. More and more people are becoming aware of what these governments are doing around these 15-minute cities.
A 15-minute city. This idea has many names. A 20-minute city, a 10-minute city, a 15-minute village, a complete neighborhood, or a walkable neighborhood. Whatever you may call it, all these names refer to one concept.
Will the leader please set aside some time in this house for a debate on the international socialist concept of so-called 15-minute cities and 20-minute neighbourhoods? Ultra-low emission zones in their present form do untold economic damage to any city. However, the second step after these zones will take away personal freedoms as well. Low emission zones cost the taxpayer money, simple as. However, 15-minute cities will cost us our personal freedom, and that cannot be right.
If the World Economic Forum could lay out its perfect design for humanity, it would look like this. Well, earlier this month, thousands of protesters hit the streets of England to express their hostility towards this concept of the 15-minute city. And if you think this is something out of a fantasy world, it's not. It's actually already been rolled out in a number of cities around the world. In Barcelona, in Melbourne, Australia, parts of Melbourne, Paris, and Milan. So this is already a reality. And they're continuing to push this out in more and more World Economic Forum controlled countries. And protests in England over the past few days capturing this sentiment.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to From City to Country. I'm Kizzy, and we're currently in Oxford in a freedom protest that we came to distribute some great controversy at. Come along with us as we minister to Oxford.
I'm from Manitoba.
The traffic filters will be installed as a trial on 6 roads in Oxford in 2024. They will not be physical barriers. They're not steel walls or electronic gates. They're simply traffic cameras that can read number plates. If a vehicle passes through, the camera will read the number plate, and if you do not have an exemption or a residence permit, you will receive a fine in the post.
Oxfordshire City Council also has a separate plan, a set of traffic reducing measures, totally separate from this other one, that will go into trial mode next year. And under this plan, residents will not be allowed to drive on some city streets for most of the day unless they have a 100-day permit. They are encouraged to use instead the ring road or public transport. Traffic cameras will monitor your compliance, and fines will be imposed if you break this. So these are two separate things, right? And so it's very easy then for the mainstream media to kind of label these people as conspiracy theorists because they might be getting a portion of the story wrong. It's two different council measures that are being blended as one. So we just need to be careful about that. But the point is well taken, and this is exactly what the World Economic Forum has laid out. Two different plans in England are being talked about jointly, so be careful. But here's how the BBC explains what a 15-minute city is. Then I'm going to show you what the World Economic Forum says. So that's why it's not fair to call people like us conspiracy theorists. Watch this BBC explainer.
The 15-minute city is a really simple concept in many ways. It's really just saying that every urban citizen should be able to meet their basic needs within a 15-minute walk or cycle ride from their house.
The concept of the 15-minute city was proposed by French Colombian scientist Carlos Moreno, and aspects of it are starting to be adopted in cities like Paris, Barcelona, and Bogota.
Here's the World Economic Forum, how they describe it in their own words on their own website. This is the World Economic Forum's website now, so let's just scroll this. The surprising stickiness of the 15-minute city. And it breaks this down, how this is going to be so sticky. You're going to absolutely love the surprising stickiness of the 15-minute city. See all these happy people with their bikes? So, and it describes that urbanism trends come and go, but the 15-minute city framing of walkable, mixed-use urban development is a lot more than just a fad. The historical roots go back with a long time. We'll be living with for a long time to come, this sort of 15-minute. As climate change and global conflicts shocks causes stress and faster intervals and increasing severity, the 15-minute city will become even more critical. So, of course, that's what they're pinning this on. It's climate change.
That's what the fear is that they're like, you have everything you need right here. You can't leave here without some kind of carbon emissions permit. And that they construct walls around it because they've told us that this is the way to save the planet, and your responsibility is to stay within your Pavlovian circle. And so I think, the concern here is about civil liberties.
under your inalienable right to travel anywhere at any time in any vehicle that you choose. Electric vehicles are a joke. You can only go so far and then you have to charge it. Give me petrol any day of the week. Understand, they're coming for your houses next. After they've taken your travelling rights away, they will take your houses away. If you haven't got it insulated to their standard by 2028, they will start fining you. And then after they start fining you, if you can't pay because you haven't got any money, because you can't work, they will then take your house away. Guess what? This is called you'll own nothing and be happy. Klaus Schwab says, while he's a billionaire, you'll be happy owning nothing while he's flying around the world in his aeroplanes and doing whatever he likes. Come on people, wake up, smell the coffee. It's up to you. If you don't do anything, you cannot complain when it happens.
I'm Jane James. I am the Mayor of Thetford and also the Chairperson of Thetford Town Council. So, our first part is our 15-minute public question time. We will be sticking to that. There is a maximum of 5 minutes per speaker. We have our first question.
You made a decision on our behalf to vote in favour of a 20-minute neighbourhood for the County of Norfolk. Since then, we found out that Thetford, along with Attleborough and Rackheath, are to be considered for trial towns for said programme. What gave you the right to vote for me about an issue which is going to dramatically affect everything? Why did you think that that was okay to vote on our behalf without a public meeting, without consultation, or without any evidence being put before us as to how that's going to affect and detriment our lives, which it will?
It said to explore and understand so that we can collate the information and go, is it a good idea or not a good idea?
Listen, it doesn't matter about the evidence. The mere suggestion that we should have our lives, it doesn't matter what evidence you collate, collude, or gain together at a later date, you should have, as a town mayor, as a town person, in your biography, you talk about, I'm passionate about Thetford. Well, I've got to be honest, there's a lot of people here tonight that are pretty concerned as to why you're making decisions on their behalf without consultation. And I'm one of them. With that in mind, let me tell you now, I don't consent. I don't need your help. You're there as a councillor. You're there for us. Okay? You operate for us. You work for us.